Hello everyone, welcome to biology class. In this class we are going to see 12th standard botany chapter 3 chromosomal basis of inheritance. Let's see the chapter outline. So in this chapter we'll be learning about the chromosomal theory of inheritance, about the linkage and its types, crossing over, recombination, gene mapping, about the multiple alleles and sex determination in case of maize, and mutation, its types and its significance. So after learning this chapter, we'll be knowing about all these in detailed manner. Chromosomal theory of inheritance. Gregor Johann Mendel 1865 he studied the inheritance of well-defined characters of pea plant. But we all know his experiments was not recognized till 1900. The three scientists, Hugo de Vries of Holland, Karl Correns of Germany, and Erich von Schemnack of Austria. So these three scientists independently rediscovered the Mendel's result on the inheritance of characters. And various cytologists also observed cell division due to advancements in microscopy. So this led to the discovery of structures inside the nucleus. So till such time, so Mendel was aware of certain factors that are responsible for inheritance, but due to absence of microscope and due to various cytological techniques, he was not very sure about what is exactly responsible for inheritance. But after the advent of the microscopy and the advancements made in the field of microscopy, the discovery of structures inside the nucleus took place. So what is found inside the nucleus? So in case of eukaryotic cells, worm-shaped structures which are formed during cell division. So that is, it is referred to as chromosomes. So these chromosomes are colored bodies and it can be visualized by staining only during the process of cell division, because it is found before the chromosome is found in the form of a long coiled thread-like network called as chromatin reticulum. Only during the process of cell division, the chromatin reticulum condense and give rise to a short structures which are referred to as chromosomes. So, an organism possesses two complete basic sets of chromosomes. And such an organism which possesses two complete basic sets of chromosomes are referred to as diploid organisms. So already you know, only one set of chromosome it is referred to as haploid and two sets of chromosome is referred to as diploid. So human chromosome, it is 46 diploid number of chromosomes and the haploid number of chromosome being 23. So what is a chromosome? A chromosome consists of a long, continuous coiled piece of DNA in which genes are arranged in a linear order. So here you can see in this illustration, inside the cell there will be nucleus and inside the nucleus there will be chromosomes. And the chromosomes contain DNA. And the DNA, a segment of which is referred to as a gene. So this you have to understand very clearly. That's why I have given this illustration here. Okay, so you should know what are chromosomes, where it is found. So again I repeat, inside the cell you will be having nucleus. And the nucleus will be consisting of these chromosomes. So only during cell division you can find the appearance of chromosomes, and till cell division it is found as what? Chromatin reticulum. So inside the nucleus you are having chromosomes. And the chromosomes will harbor the genetic material called DNA. And a segment or a part of DNA is referred to as a gene. So each gene has a specific position on the chromosome. and its specific position on the chromosome is referred to as locus. So these genes are referred to as hereditary units. That is, the genes are responsible for carrying the genetic information from one generation to another generation. That's why genes are referred to as hereditary units. So before, genes was called as factors during Mendel's time, and later only the factors are described as genes. So now coming to the chromosomal theory of inheritance. So this is a very important one. So chromosomal theory of inheritance states that the Mendelian factors, so during the time of Mendel it is called as factors. So the Mendelian factors, now called genes, have specific locus. That is, the genes occupy a specific position on chromosome. And the genes are responsible for carrying the information from one generation to the next generation. This is referred to as chromosomal theory of inheritance. Let's see the historical development of chromosome theory. So the important cytological findings related to the chromosome theory of inheritance are given here. Wilhelm Rox, he postulated the chromosome of a cell, so it is responsible for transferring heredity. And Montgomery was first to suggest the occurrence of distinct pairs of chromosomes. That is, in an organism there are distinct pairs of chromosomes. So he concluded that maternal chromosomes pair with paternal chromosomes only during the meiosis. So maternal chromosomes are nothing but the chromosomes from the mother, and paternal chromosomes are nothing but the chromosomes from the father. They are going to pair only during meiosis. And Boveri suggested that idea that the chromosomes contain the genetic determinants. So they are responsible for what? The chromosomes are responsible for the determinants, genetic determinants, and he was largely responsible for developing the chromosomal theory of inheritance. So Boveri find a very important place in developing the chromosomal theory of inheritance. Sutton, a young American student, independently recognized a parallelism, that is the similarity between the behavior of the chromosomes and Mendelian factors during gamete formation. And Sutton and Boveri, so both of them independently proposed the chromosome theory of inheritance. So both of them have proposed the chromosome theory in an independent manner. Sutton united the knowledge of chromosomal segregation with the Mendelian principles and called it chromosomal theory of inheritance. Now let's see the salient features of chromosomal theory of inheritance. So somatic cells, that is the body cells of the organisms, are derived from the zygote from repeated cell division. So somatic cells of an organism are derived from the zygote by repeated cell division. And this consists of two identical sets of chromosomes. That is, the somatic cells consist of two identical sets of chromosomes. One set is received from female, maternal, and the other set is derived from male, paternal. And these two chromosomes constitute the homologous pair. That is, a homologous pair of chromosome is nothing but consisting of maternal and paternal form of chromosome constitute the homologous pair. The next feature of the chromosomal theory is the chromosomes retain their structural uniqueness and individuality throughout the life cycle of an organism. And each chromosome carries specific determiners or Mendelian factors, and which are now referred to as genes. And the behavior of the chromosome during the gamete formation, that is during meiosis. Meiosis is nothing but a cell division which leads to the formation of male and female gametes. Provides evidence that genes or the factors are located on chromosome. So these are the salient features of chromosomal theory of inheritance. Now let's see about the comparison between the gene and the chromosome behavior. So around 20th century, cytologists established that generally the total number of chromosomes is constant in all cells of a species. So the chromosomal number is constant. In a particular species, if you take, the chromosomal number is constant. Whether it is going to be a somatic cell or a gametic cell, the chromosomal number is constant in all the cells of the species. A diploid eukaryotic cell has two haploid sets of chromosomes. Okay, one from each parent. So making it diploid. And all somatic cells, the body cells of the organism, carry their own genetic complement equivalent. The behavior of the chromosome during meiosis not only explains Mendel's principle but leads to new and different approaches to study about heredity. Here there is a figure to compare the chromosome and the gene behavior. So these are the chromosome structure. All these are chromosome structures and all these are gene structure. So they are trying to correlate or compare the gene and the chromosome. So here they have given example. So here you can find homologous chromosomes. So between homologous chromosome 2 and 3, you can find the non-homologous chromosome. Okay. So of a pair, that is, one is received from the father paternal and the other is received from the mother maternal. These two together constitute what is called as homologous chromosome. Okay. But here you could see this two non-sister chromatids. That is, it is from chromosome number 2 and this is from chromosome number 3. This 2 refers to as non-homologous chromosomes. So when you see the gene order, so if it is from the same chromosome, same genes, same order. But though the genes are going to be the same, the DNA, there can be a slight differences in its DNA sequences. Okay, for example, it has got different kinds of allele here, allele A and allele small a. So, what is the difference you can see in the DNA sequences? In one place, the nucleotide in the allele capital A is C, that is cytosine, whereas the allele small a, the DNA sequence consists of capital T, thymine. Now let's see the parallelism between the Mendelian factors and chromosomal behavior. In Mendel's concepts, the alleles of factor occur in pair. So for example, stem height. What are the alleles of stem height? Either it will be capital T, so they are occurring in pair, or dwarf, small t, or a heterozygous tall, capital T, small t. So the alleles of a factor occur in pair. And here also you can find the chromosomes occur in pair. When you call out the human chromosomes, you will call it as 23 pairs of chromosomes. So alleles of factor occur in pair. Similar manner, the chromosome also occur in pair. Similar or dissimilar alleles of a factor separate during the gamete formation. So during the gamete formation, the alleles of a factor separate together. Here the chromosomes are going to separate during the process of meiosis. Number 3, the Mendelian factors can assort independently. Whereas in case of chromosomal behavior, the paired chromosomes can separate independently. So Mendelian factors can separate independently, and there is a law of independent assortment. And same way, the paired chromosomes can also separate independently during meiosis, but if linked genes are found in the same chromosome, they do not assort independently. Okay, so is it clear? So the paired chromosomes can separate independently during the process of meiosis, but if linked genes are present in the same chromosome, they normally do not assort independently. I'll tell you in detail what is linkage, what are linked genes, etc. in the upcoming slides. Now let's see the number of chromosomes in different organisms. So Adder's tongue fern, it is called as the binomial Ophioglossum, botanical name, and it is a pteridophyte plant, and the number of chromosomes found in this is 1262. That is 2n. Diploid set of chromosome is 1262. Horsetail equisteum 216 number of chromosome. Giant sequoia 22. Arabidopsis 10. Sugarcane 80. Apple 34. Rice 24. Potato 48. Maize 20. Onion 16. And Haplopappus gracilis, it consists of 4 number of chromosomes. So this can be asked in objectives also. So here they have given the different organism with its diploid number of chromosomes. But even in exam, it can be asked, an organism can be given and you may be asked about its haploid number of chromosome. So for example, the haploid number of chromosome in onion is. So what will be the answer then? So 2n is equal to 16. So haploid, n is nothing but it is 8. So likewise, this can be asked in the exam about the number of chromosomes, diploid and haploid. And similarly, you have to remember the organism that is having the most larger number of chromosome. It is Ophioglossum 1262, 1262 chromosomes in case of Ophioglossum. And the least number of chromosome is found in Haplopappus gracilis. You can find the presence of least number of chromosomes. Only the chromosomal number is 4. Next, certain do you know concepts. Thomas Hunt Morgan, he received Nobel Prize in physiology or medicine for his discoveries concerning the role played by chromosomes in heredity. Next, fossil genes. What are fossil genes? Fossil genes are nothing but some of the junk DNA is made up of pseudogenes. Why they are referred to as pseudogenes? Pseudo meaning false. Because the sequences present in that was once working genes. Okay, but now they are not working. That's why it is called as pseudogenes. They lost their ability to make proteins. And these fossil genes will tell us the entire story of evolution through their fossilized parts. I'll give an example for this fossil genes. It is not there in the textbook, just you can remember the example. Example is Japanese yeast Saccharomyces species. So in which you can find the fossil genes, and it is found in decaying state by scientists suggests that the organism was able to convert the galactose sugar into energy. And since the yeast still, even today also you have the same yeast, but now there is no galactose converting pathway. So before it was converting the galactose into energy, but now even though the yeast is present, this function is not taking place. So it has lost its ability of functioning. So The yeast is found without the galactose converting pathway. Such genes are referred to as fossil genes. The genes which determine the character of an individual are carried by the chromosome. So the genes are carried by chromosomes. The genes for different characters may be present either in the same chromosome or in different chromosome. So the genes may be present either in the same or different chromosomes. But when the genes are present in different chromosome, okay, the genes that are responsible for different characters are present in different chromosome, they assort independently. Assort meaning separate. So they separate independently, and this is based on Mendel's law of independent assortment. So already in previous chapter we have studied the Mendel's law of independent assortment, and this law was proposed by Mendel based on Mendel's dihybrid cross. So hope you remember capital R, capital R, capital Y is crossed with small r, small y. So in this case, the genes are present in different chromosome. That is, the gene for the seed shape, round, wrinkle, and the gene for this round and wrinkle, and the gene for the color of the seed, yellow, green. So it is found in different chromosomes, so they separate independently. So it is not necessarily when round is there, obviously yellow should be there. So it is not a rule. So the genes are known to assort independently. So even you might have round green seeds also. So biologists came across certain genetic characteristics that do not assort out independently. So Mendel told that by performing the Mendel's dihybrid cross, he concluded that they are obeying the law of independent assortment. But biologists, after studying about the genetic characteristic, came across that the genetic characteristics do not assort out independently in other organisms. Let's see in detail, and this process is referred to as linkage. So what is linkage? So linkage is one of Mendel's deviation concept. That is, this linkage is not coming under the laws of independent assortment of Mendel. So what happens in this? The tendency of the gene to stay together during the separation of chromosome. They are not going to separate independently. There is no law of independent assortment applied here. So what happens? The genes stay together during the separation of chromosome is called linkage. And genes do not independently assort. And this linkage was first reported in sweet pea plant Lathyrus odoratus by two scientists. One is William Bateson and the other one is Reginald C. Punnett. So these two have reported about the linkage in sweet pea plant Lathyrus odoratus. So now coming to the cross, which was performed by Bateson and Punnett. So Bateson and Punnett crossed one homozygous strain of sweet pea. They are having purple flower long pollen. So he crossed the purple flower long pollen with another homozygous strain which is having red flower with round pollen. So one flower is purple long, the other flower is red and round. So all the F1 progenies had purple flower long pollen. So what we got? Purple flower and with long pollen is seen in F1 generation, and indicating that the purple flower long pollen, capital P L, was dominant over red flower with round pollen, small p L. That's why you have got as F1 generation as purple long pollen flower. So we will again will study the cross when I am telling you about the explaining about the cis configuration and trans configuration. I'll explain you in detail. And when test cross was done, so you all know case of dihybrid cross, we have studied about the dihybrid test cross, that is crossing the F1 progeny with the double recessive parent is called as test cross. And what is the ratio obtained in test cross? It is 1:1:1:1. This is the ratio that is obtained in test cross, Mendel's test cross. But the same did not apply here. So what happened here? When they cross the F1, which is the F1 here, the purple long is the F1. When the purple long is crossed with the double recessive parent, what happens? The F2 progenies did not exhibit 1:1:1:1 ratio as expected. If they have followed the independent assortment, definitely they would have got that ratio as 1:1:1:1. But here this linkage concept is a deviation from Mendel's concept that it does not, the test cross done in sweet pea plant did not have the ratio as 1:1:1:1. And what they concluded? They concluded a greater number of F2 plants have purple flower with long pollen or red flower with round pollen. So they concluded that the genes for purple and long pollen grain and the gene for red and round pollen grain were found close to each other in the same homologous pair of chromosome. These genes do not allow themselves to be separated. So they do not assort independently. And this type of tendency of genes to stay together during separation of chromosome is called linkage. The last line is hidden here. So this type of tendency of the genes to stay together during the separation of chromosome is called as linkage. So now let's see the arrangement of linked and unlinked genes on the chromosomes. So the genes that are located close together on the same chromosome and inherited together are called as linked genes. So here in this illustration you can find the presence of linked genes. So the genes are closely located together and these genes are located on the same chromosome, and even during the inheritance it will be inherited together. But the two genes that are sufficiently far apart on the same chromosome. So here you can see in the same chromosome the genes are found together. It is an example of linked genes. In another case, if on the same chromosomes the genes are far apart, here you can see, here you can find gene 1, here far apart you can find gene 2. So if the genes are located far apart on the same chromosome, such kind of genes are referred to as unlinked genes, otherwise referred to as syntenic genes. And this condition is called as synteny. So when they are located closely on the same chromosome, it is called linked genes. And when they are located far apart from each other in the same chromosome, or when the genes are located in two different chromosomes, in both the cases they are referred to as unlinked genes or syntenic genes, and the process as synteny. The process condition as synteny. And when we see about the value of recombination frequency, in these cases 50%, more than 50% is known to have unlinked genes and less than 50% showed linked genes. Now let's see the cis and trans arrangement of genes. Coupling or cis configuration. Two dominant or recessive alleles present on same chromosome of homologous inherit together into same gamete. So if they are found in the same chromosome of the homologous pair, then they have the tendency to inherit into same gamete. This is the cis arrangement of genes. And now let's see the repulsion or trans configuration of genes. Two dominant or recessive alleles present on different but same homologous chromosome. Here you can find the presence of, in case of trans, you can find two dominant or recessive alleles present on different. So here you can find this capital A is dominant. Okay, and here capital B is dominant. Similarly, here small a is recessive and here small b is recessive. So the two dominant or recessive alleles is present on different chromosome, but they belong to the same homologous chromosome and they inherit apart into different gametes. Now let's see the alleles in case of coupling or cis configuration. So let's see about the alleles, how they function during the coupling process. So we will learn about two processes. One is coupling process and the other one is repulsion process. First we are going to know about the coupling process. Here the parental generation is purple flower with long pollen and another parent is red flower with round pollen. So when they are crossing this two parental generation, the chromosomes, the crosses between this homozygous parents will take place. That is in case of purple long, it is the genotype is capital P, capital P, capital L, capital L, and in case of red flower with round pollen, so it is small p, small p, small l, small l. So when this cross is made, you can find the gamete here capital P, capital L, and here you can find the gamete as small p, small l. So this lead to the formation of purple flower with long pollen in F1 generation. So now let's see about the test cross for the same. So what is a test cross? Crossing the dominant parent with the double recessive parent is referred to as test cross. So here what happens in test cross? They are not going to follow Mendel's law of independent assortment. When they have followed Mendel's law of independent assortment, what ratio we would have obtained? We would have that expected ratio is 1:1:1:1. But what is the ratio that is observed? What is the ratio that is got in F2 generation? The ratio is 7:1:1:7. So now this is about the test cross. So the test cross is not going to show like a Mendel's dihybrid test cross. This test cross is going to be different and the expected ratio 1:1:1:1 is not observed, and the ratio that is observed in this case of coupling is 7:1:1:7. This is the ratio actually observed. So you can find here the number of progeny, that is the number of parental progeny is more, and the number of recombinant progeny is less when compared to the parental progeny. So we can infer that with linked genes, non-recombinant progenies are predominant. Now let's see about the alleles in repulsion or transconfiguration. So in case of alleles in repulsion or transconfiguration, we are going to have the parental generation as for cis configuration we had purple flower long pollen and red flower and round pollen. Here we are going to have the parental generation as purple flower round pollen and red flower long pollen. And the crosses between the homozygous parents were made, and the gametes, it is written here capital P, small p, capital L. And in F1 generation, all the flowers are purple flower with long pollen, capital P, capital P, small p, capital L, small l. When the test cross was done, that is crossing the F1 progeny with the recessive parent, so it lead to the formation of less chance of crossing over due to the presence of linked genes, and so in the F2 generation they got the ratio as, that is the observed ratio is 6 is the recombinant progeny you can see here it is 6. The parental progenies you can find 44 and 44, and again the recombinant progeny red round is 6, and you can find the observed ratio is 1:7:1, whereas if it is a test cross, the expected ratio being 1:1:1:1. So it is not observed. So they came to the conclusion that in case of linkage, it is not going to follow the Mendel's law of independent assortment, and the genes that are found on the same chromosome, they are found linked and they are referred to as linked genes. Now let's see the kinds of linkage. So T.H. Morgan found two types of linkage. So you kindly make a note of it. T.H. Morgan, he found two types of linkage. One is complete linkage, the other one is incomplete linkage, depending on the absence or presence of new combination of linked genes. First, let's see what is complete linkage. So in complete linkage, the chances of separation of two linked genes are not possible, and those genes always remain together. So the linked genes, they always remaining close together, and when they are remaining close together and in the crosses if made, only parental combination are observed, and the linked genes, because the linked genes that are located very close together on the same chromosome do not exhibit crossing over. So they do not exhibit crossing over, and the genes are very close with each other, and this was first reported in male Drosophila. So we call it as fruit fly. A small fly will be found. It is referred to as fruit fly. So this complete linkage is found in Drosophila, and who reported this is C.B. Bridges. Okay, but it is a rare event, but it can be reported in few male species of Drosophila. And the second kind of linkage is incomplete linkage. So the linked genes are sufficiently apart, and the chances for their separation are possible, and as a result the parental and non-parental combination are observed. Here what happens is the linked genes exhibit some crossing over, and this phenomenon is called incomplete linkage, and this was first observed in maize plant and it was reported by Hutchinson. Now let's see about the linkage group. First, let me tell you what are linkage groups. Kindly make a note of it. The groups of linearly arranged linked genes of a chromosome. So, when the genes are arranged linearly on a chromosome, it constitutes a linkage group. So, in any species, the number of linkage groups corresponds to the number of haploid set of chromosome. So, if you want to find the linkage group, you can very well know the linkage group from the number of haploid set of chromosome. For example, in case of fungi, the linkage group is 2. So, in case of Drosophila, the linkage group is 4. In case of sweet pea, the linkage group is 7. In case of Neurospora, again 7. And in maize, it is 10. Let's see the differences between linkage and crossing over. So, I have not taught you about crossing over. So, in crossing over, just I'll give a gist of what is a crossing over process. In the next class, we will learn in detailed manner what is crossing over. So, crossing over is nothing but a biological process, and during this process, due to the interchanging of the segments between the sister chromatids of homologous pair of chromosome, new combination of genes are formed. This process is called crossing over. So now let's look into the differences between linkage and crossing over. The genes present on the chromosome stay close together. That is, if the genes are staying close together, it is referred to as linkage or linked genes. And in case of crossing over, it leads to separation of linked genes. So during the process of crossing over, there will be interchanging of segments. So in crossing over leads to separation of linked genes. Linkage, it involves same chromosome of homologous chromosome. Okay, so same chromosome is involved in linkage. Whereas crossing over, it is going to take place between the non-sister chromatids of the homologous chromosome. Linkage reduces new gene combination because it is going to take place within the same gene. So it reduces the new gene combination. Whereas in case of crossing over, it increases variability by forming new gene combination. Due to crossing over, there is a chance of a new combination of genes. And this new combination of genes will lead to the formation of new organism. So that's it with the today's class. Meet you in the next session. Thank you.